Welcome to another episode of Wealth Beyond Numbers. I'm your host, Dennis Coral, and we continue the conversation with Dr. Irma Campos. Irma, if I may say.
Yes, of course. We're
It's been
friends.
a pleasure having you here on the show and learning about what you do in your practice. Now to a little more fun things, what drives you crazy? Like in our practice, for example, and I shared this earlier, sometimes we prepare budgets for clients as they transition to retirement and it all goes well.
Yeah.
And then let's say they're going to receive $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
And then a month goes by and then they come back to us and say, Dennis, I need more money. And then we have to restructure things. And we do take care of our clients. It's part of what we do. And we love doing it. But I'm sure in your practice, there are things that your clients do that sometimes they hurt themselves by doing it. So are there things that you want to share or stories about things that drive you crazy or things that clients should be mindful?
Yeah, great question. And I think, taps into a little bit of what you were sharing, but defaulting back to the same patterns, right, of behavior, like waiting till the last minute, for example, a little bit of what you were sharing, that'll drive me a little crazy. With love, right? I say it, but there are clients, including one, right, that I've recently worked with, will default back to not following through on a plan, right? To structure things, to organize things, to think of the strategy of the business. Like I was saying, like to think of the long-term direction. Will default back to getting stuck in the weeds and trying to have control over little decisions. And we've worked on trying to release some of that control, right? Delegate appropriately based on the recipient, right? So delegating based on who they're delegating to in a different way, a different style. We've worked on that, but they'll default back to trying to still have, control over little decisions. So I think that general theme of defaulting back to old patterns is something that, can be, it's human nature, but we've got to work on it. Once we're addressing a pattern, we've got to stick to it. It's about sustainable change, daily change. And so that's something that, definitely I see.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So they basically didn't follow your advice.
And
they're
driving me
a
crazy
control
because
person that it's a micromanager.
There you go. A micromanager, right, that has a little bit of a hard time releasing that, right, control, but has to in order for the business to grow, right? In order to have these management structures run effectively, they've got to let people make their decisions while also coaching them along the way. And that's the idea of, changing your leadership style based on where that person is. And so that's what we've worked on with this leader is they change their leadership style based on who they're leading themselves. But also they've got to do the internal work to not hold on.
That's what can all benefit from using therapy.
I agree.
When you work with companies, is there a time frame that you engage with them? I'm assuming from what you're shared that everything you do is personalized to the company depending on their needs. But is there usual typical time frames that you have? Do you work on a work for? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? Is it or how can you?
Yeah, I'll customize it again based on needs, based on priorities. My recommendation would always be 6 months, right? At least. You probably know with leadership development training programs, they often last years long. So if we can do that, all the better because we're building on the training, we're building on foundations, right, of skills, and then also of the coaching piece. But at least 6 months, I would recommend to really see change and to really be able to work on change. Like I was saying, we all default back to patterns.
Yeah,
So,
it takes 21 days to create a habit.
At
they
least,
say so.
At least on
if you want to
average.
change a company's way of doing things, it would take longer than 21 days, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a larger system, right? And then we're talking about interconnections between that system.
Can you share a story of a client that you've had that you work because you've been doing this for a number of years, kind of like a success story or something that you saw that how you took them from A to B?
I love a story of a client that was struggling with a number of different things, right? Kind of personally, I won't go into too much details, but some personal challenges from earlier in their life. They really, I think, worked hard on managing reactions, responses, like impulsive responses that weren't as helpful, both in their personal life and then also as a business owner and business leader. And I'm really proud of this person because they also pursued additional education, right? Independent of like our work together that we were doing, but they really worked in general on themselves. And I think really worked on managing, self-regulating those impulsive reactions that came from, some things earlier in childhood and earlier in adolescence. And we saw the fruits of their labor. So I think I really appreciate that. The depth of our relationship, to me, just how they were able to open up. It was the first time that they had ever done this type of performance coaching. Or, had never worked with a therapist, never worked with someone where they were sharing and disclosing so much. So to see that openness and vulnerability paired with also the changes that they made as a leader, and then also in pursuing additional education as an adult, that was really powerful to see. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's interesting, because as adults we don't want change. We're accustomed to our own ways, and it's hard to make changes.
Yeah, it is. There's a reason we do what we do. I always believe that, right? There's a function to every behavior, even when we don't know it. But yeah, and it gets reinforced in our environments. So to shift that requires effort, and especially if it's something like an impulsive response, a reactive response to certain things with people, then it's even sometimes harder.
Wow. Well, that's a nice story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Is there a book, we ask that in every one of our podcasts. Yeah. So is there a book that you would recommend our audience that's diving into your side of the world, that you or in business that you have read that you found that it had an impact in you?
Yeah, one of my favorite books, it is more psychological, but I'll do often trainings in this space for leaders because it is about managing themselves and others, is A Liberated Mind by Dr. Stephen C. Hayes. It's what's called ACT-based or acceptance and commitment therapy-based. He is the founder of acceptance and commitment therapy. And that framework is used in coaching, it's used in therapy, right, to dive in deeper to certain issues. It's also used in training people, especially around like safety and quality assurance. But this book, covers just in general a lot of like the research, where this theory comes from, and the application of the theory. So it's a great book, A Liberated Mind by Dr. Stephen C. Hayes.
That's pretty cool. That's very interesting. I didn't know about that author. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, I recommend it.
And do you use that from both, on a personal and business? So do you feel that the human psychology, the aspect that you do on your private practice, translates well in the business world?
Yes, absolutely. And there are some leaders that I'll work with essentially incorporating both. It depends on their needs, but I think again, as high performers, and I include myself, so to speak, in that, because I, try to really do the best in what I do. But I think we struggle with certain things internally, externally. And so sometimes diving in deeper to understanding that in therapy can be helpful, but also then tying it back to how do we translate it to, improving our performance is also helpful. So some people will do both simultaneously, or some people will just do, for example, the business psychology services with GrowthSpan. So it just depends on kind of the person's need and what they desire. But I've worked with people, incorporating both or just one.
Cool. And how would people reach out to you if they want to have a consultation with you about their business?
Yeah, we offer complimentary consultations. They can go to growspanconsulting.com. So GROWSPAN consulting.com. And they can sign up for a complimentary consultation where we can talk about their concerns, from their perception of the problem, maybe some, ideas for solutions, and we can then provide a proposal for our, recommendations. So happy to talk with anyone who's interested.
And they can get to talk to you as well.
That's right. They'll talk with me like we did,
Fantastic.
Yeah. And you're a great interviewer, Dennis.
Thank you.
I think you've been doing this maybe longer than you're telling us.
No, I started back in June and I'm enjoying this. I have great persons like you to get to be in the show talking about their amazing businesses and how they support the community. So I'm just as lucky, to be honest.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Well, this concludes our episode of Wealth Beyond Numbers with Dr. Irma Campos. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. I learned so much. about you, to be honest. So I want to thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
And as we like to say at Core Wealth Management, retirement and financial confidence starts here. Thanks for watching.